Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Bailey here from Crochet with Bay. This week's video is going to be part 2 of the Ask Me Anything video that I filmed about a month or so ago. I wanted to give you guys a bit of a breather in between part 1 and part 2 because it's a lot of information that I'm spitting out. If you remember, I had over like 100 questions asked and I wanted to break it up into 2 parts because it was just going to be like a lot of me jibber jabbering. Without any further ado, let's jump into part 2. Favorite market makes, if possible, both small, big, no-sew, low-sew, and all in between. Girlfriend, it's a lot. Okay, my favorite no-sew is the baby axolotls by Crochet Grove. They do really well. Shooting my own horn here, my baby alien pattern always sells out at my markets. I don't know, it's hard to say, like there really isn't consistently, I haven't done a market in like a couple months. And there isn't a pattern that like consistently sells out, like a medium or large size pattern that consistently sells out at every market. Like I feel like medium and large size things, they're always hit or miss. If you couldn't crochet, what would you do? I think I'd probably be a teacher. I think that's what I want to do if I ever stop crocheting. My dad is a teacher, my mom works in the school. I like the idea of having the summers off, which is nice. Is it difficult to organize your time while working from home? What's your tips and tricks to stay on top of your work? This was something I struggled with so much in the beginning of my career, like more than you would believe. Making a routine is truly what saved me. I'll walk you through a typical day for me. I get up at 7 or 8. I have like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, have my coffee, watch TV or play like a video game, like Disney Dreamlight Valley is what I'm playing right now. And then me and Phoebe will go for a walk. We come back. I either decide it's a content filming day and I put makeup on and do my hair and film some content videos, or I have an idea in my head that I want to make a new pattern and I'll do that. Or I will reply to emails, and then around 1 o'clock I'll break for lunch. So there's like, I think I work pretty well in like 3 to 4 hour spans because then my attention just like gone. Break at lunch around 1, I'll just like have a small lunch and then I will get back at it and I will work until Aaron gets home. And then after that, I don't work. I do not work in the evening unless there's a pattern coming out and I have to get work done for it. Unless I have something that I'm really excited about, like I'm like, oh my god, I really want to work on this pattern, I want to get it done, then I'll work while Aaron's home. Or if there's something that I have to do, like I have a pattern test that I'm working on, like I have to get this pattern test back to this creator, then I will work while he's home. Dinner and eat around 5:30. We take Phoebe for her nighttime walk, and then when we get back, he usually goes and plays some video games for a little bit. I will sit on the couch and crochet things that aren't related to my work day. The best way to avoid burnout for sure is that I don't work like on my business all day long. I usually try and take weekends off. I find that when you have a creative occupation where you have to think creatively and artistically, you have to really kind of treat your brain with kindness, because it is like one thing to like do work, but then also to produce good creative content. You have to really just let yourself rest, because it's in those restful moments that I think I come up with some of my best ideas, when I am well rested and my brain isn't like fried. How do you build your own crochet website / Shopify, as well as with taxes and how to ship items out? Nobody really talks about those in-depth details. Coming from a fellow young crocheter looking to build my own small business, I would suggest start with Etsy, because Etsy really has it all encompassed for new small businesses. You can ship out through Etsy. You can make listings for finished products very easily on Etsy. If you have been on Etsy for a while and you know how to make listings and such, and you want to expand to a Shopify or a website, I would recommend doing a Shopify. I have Shopify and I really like it. You can design your own website on Shopify. If you have a tax number, like a GST, HST number, like we have in Ontario, I'm not sure about the States, then you can plug that in and Shopify will, I'm pretty sure, take taxes off for you. Honestly, I have to look. I just kind of give it to my accountant. And then with everything else, just like save all your receipts. Tax time is the worst. I hate tax time. Shopify will also help you ship out your items. In the beginning, Shopify was a learning curve for me, but they have 24/7 chat agents available that you can like just type in on like your computer, like you don't have to call anybody, and you'd be like, I need help with shipping, and they're like, okay, cool, and like they walk you through everything. What were your biggest challenges of running your own business? I would say my biggest challenges, I think finding your niche is a really hard thing to do, because if you have such a big scope, you just want like your business to just be crochet. Okay, well, like within crochet, do you want to be a finished plushie seller? Do you want to be a pattern designer? Do you want to make tools to help other crocheters? Do you want to be a content creator, an influencer? Like there's so many different scopes, and I think like I still don't even have it figured out. I kind of am like a little bit of everything right now, but I'd say I'm mostly content creator and then pattern designer. I think those are my two, and my audience is the crochet community, not so much like people that want to buy finished products, because I don't put them on my website as much as I should. So I would say finding my niche was hard, but once you figure that out and you kind of know what direction you want to go in with your business, it becomes easier. My other biggest challenge, I would say, is looking around me instead of focusing on my own lane. The biggest and hardest thing is to just kind of put your blinders on and just focus on what you're doing, and not like noticing other people like pulling ahead of you, releasing a pattern before you, like doing the things like that you want to do. Like just don't look at it, just tune it out. Like I have to limit my screen time to not like bum myself out because like I see somebody doing something that I wanted to do before I did it, or if I see somebody like doing something that I view as like better than how I'm doing it, I get really bummed out. And like best advice I have is just to put your blinders on and stay in your lane, because when it's just you and you're not trying to like it's almost as if like when you're trying to do a task and you're given like a stop clock of like you have this much time to do this task, okay, and you're flustered and you're panicking and you're trying to figure out what you have to do next. And that's what it's like when you're looking around you instead of looking at your own lane. If you're told to do a task without any timer, without any stop clock, without anybody watching, the task is so much easier to do. So that's my biggest tip. Blinders, don't look at social media. If there's somebody that you find yourself constantly like comparing yourself to, block them, unfollow them. Just believe in yourself. Do you ever feel as though your pattern ideas are copied? Yes and no. Sometimes I will see other patterns and I'm like, that looks kind of like mine, but also it's like nothing will be like yours. You can think that something looks similar to yours and it's not the same. If you sat down and you wrote a pattern without looking at the other person's pattern, without looking at their version of it, you're like, I want to make a monkey. Okay? You want to make a monkey. You have an idea in your head about how you want this monkey to look, and you crochet it and write down your steps as you go, and then you type up the pattern. That's your intellectual property. You made that monkey. Just because somebody else has a monkey pattern does not mean that you copied them in any sense of the word. If you buy somebody's pattern and then edit it to be technically different, but it still looks the same, that's copying. If you took somebody's pattern, didn't buy it, but looked at what they made and then tried to make it yourself, that's copying. There's a bit of a gray area between if you do that last one that I just said, but you don't sell it. If you can't afford the pattern and you're not going to sell the pattern that you make and you just like freehand something you see online, that's fine. But if you're profiting off of somebody else's creativity, off of somebody else's intellectual property, that's copying and that's wrong. But if it's a pattern that you made from your own brain, then it's not copying. And when that happens, when you feel like you're being copied, again, blinders. Because in the end, you're the one that's going to look bad. If you go and attack somebody for having a pattern similar to yours, you look bad. You seem petty. Like it just doesn't look good. Do you struggle with burnout often? Yes, as I said before. What is your most profitable item, patterns, planner, plushies, etc.? My crochet planner, my market planner, it has made me the most money to date. It is my biggest profit, for sure. Do you make any money from content as a Canadian creator? Yes and no. TikTok and Instagram do not pay Canadian content creators as far as I know. I do get paid from Facebook Reels and YouTube videos and Reels. or shorts, I guess they're called on YouTube, but that's about it. The only time I get paid on TikTok is if I have like a live and people send gifts. But even that, like, I never take the money out of my TikTok. I usually just like buy gifts for other people. Like if I get like $40 in gifts, I'll just like spend that $40 giving gifts to other people. I just pay it forward. I don't take it out of there. I've gotten a couple of paid ad promotions that I've done, whether it be like monetary compensation or free items, but that's about it. How do you pick testers for new patterns? I have a couple criteria. I look at your profile. First, you have to follow the requirements. Like if I say like this post, save this post, I don't really know if I can check if you saved the post, but it's nice to know that you saved it because it kind of boosts the post out into the discovery page if more people save it. And then I say like comment and tag 2 people and like you didn't. That's like, I'm not really gonna look at you. If I go to your page and the first thing I see is no crochet, I'm not gonna pick you. When I open your page, I wanna be able to see your talent, your art, what you create, right smack in the middle of your page in my face, so that I'm like you're selling yourself to me in a way when you want to test patterns. Not just to me, but to like everybody when you want to test patterns. I'm gonna look and see if you've tested any other patterns in the past. I'm going to look and see if you have promoted those patterns that you've tested in the past, because that's a big part of pattern testing, is having people test the pattern and then post about it, so that like it's not all on me to advertise for the pattern. People say they don't look at followers. I pick some people because of followers. I pick others because they're talented. There's no like, you have to have a minimum amount of this many followers. Like I've picked people with like less than 100 followers before to test, but like their work was really good. And then sometimes I'll pick people that aren't really good because I do need beginners. Because if I label something as a beginner pattern, I need to know that beginners can understand it. There's a whole bunch of things. I should do a video on that specifically. There's all of these questions I could do a whole video on. These are kind of just like rapid fire. Hi, come here. Hi, baby. Oh, come here. Walk, 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 walk. Come here. What are you doing? You can't sit up here with me, baby. You can't sit up here. She wants pets, so I'm gonna pet her while I answer more questions. What's your most favorite thing about your job? That I can sleep whatever I want. I literally get to build my own schedule, which I think is awesome. But like also the least favorite thing about my job is that I don't just punch a clock. I have to, if I don't put in the work, I don't get paid. If I don't post content, I don't get paid. If I don't make a new pattern, I don't get paid. So like it's high risk, high reward. Did you find it hard to leave your full-time job? Did you have any struggles when you first left? Yeah, like I said earlier, I had a lot of struggles with like routine, just like being like, okay, I have the freedom to do whatever I want. And I feel like I also had a lot of like imposter syndrome. Like I didn't think that I knew what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was worried that the world was going to figure that out too. And I mean, I still don't know what I'm doing. I have imposter syndrome all the time. The hardest thing was definitely just like sticking with it when it got hard. When like a pattern didn't do well, or I didn't sell anything on a plushie drop, or didn't get picked for a tester call. Like there's so many things. How do you get a lot of sales at markets? Also, I want to price my items for more, but always get nasty comments. How do you ignore it, or how do you address those comments? I talked about earlier about tips for markets. So like I said, bring small items, medium, big items, all the items. As for how to price your items, you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say get my pricing tool because it is the best. I've sold over 1,000 copies. I think we're almost at 2,000 copies now. It helps a lot for pricing because you also have the option to price with your time accounted for, and also just price with materials and like an upcharge on the materials to pay yourself. As for the nasty comments, what does that person owe you? Nothing. You just have to learn that like there's some not nice people in this world, and I have not had many people directly say to my face that it's a lot for a product. I'll overhear them saying to like their son or daughter like, oh, that's too much, we can't afford that. Or like you'll get the older ladies that'll kind of like look at the price and like their eyes will bug out and they'll roll their eyes and like walk away. Like that's more of what you get. You know, you could say something along the lines of, I'm sorry if this isn't in your budget. Handmade items are indeed a luxury item, and it's unfortunate that not everybody can afford it, but you know, like this is my livelihood, so I do have to pay myself fairly. Whenever somebody tries to bargain with me. I'm always just like, sorry, this is my full-time job. I got bills to pay too. So how do you come up with your content ideas? Some of them just like come to me in weird times. Like I'll be like falling asleep and I'll be like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I take my phone out and I'll like write it down in my notes app. And then in the morning I have to try and figure out what I just wrote down to myself. Whenever I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see a funny trend, I'll just like save that video. And then when I'm all dolled up ready to film content, I'll go through my saved videos and I'll be like, oh, I want to remake this trend. Or like if I hear a sound that I think I could make a funny video to, I'll save the sound and I'll go back later when I'm ready to film content. I film content all in one day and then I edit it when I'm ready to post it. I kind of just like have a bunch of raw footage and then like I'll go and edit it another day. I don't like to film and edit in the same day. It is just too much for my creative brain to handle. What/where do you get inspiration for your crochet patterns? Sometimes I'll see stuffed animals on store shelves and I'll be like, that's cute, I could make that. Or I'll watch a movie and I'm like, I could make that. Literally all it is just me living in the world and being like, I could make that. Or Aaron is like, he's really good at giving me ideas sometimes, especially with content. He gives me funny ideas. And if I have something in my mind, like I want to make a reindeer, what I did was I went on Google search images and I typed in like cartoon reindeer. And so many things came up and I was like, that's cute. You know, like it doesn't all have to come from within your head. Like as long as you're not copying somebody else, like you should be fine. What other hobbies do you have? I used to dance competitively growing up, so I love to dance. Sometimes I will play Just Dance. I love to play the Switch. I like Mario, Super Mario. The new Super Mario Party Jamboree came out and I'm obsessed with that little mini game where you have to like, there's like a team of 8 of you and you have to like try and like off Bowser. That's a fun game. I love puzzles. Puzzles are my favorite. I like musical theater. Love Wicked. I'm really into Wicked right now. I love Harry Potter movies. I don't know if those would classify as hobbies. I think they would. Passions, hobbies, same thing. Do you have siblings? I do. I have 2 brothers. They are twins. And this is my little family. They're so cute. They are 3 years younger than me. So they're 23. Ooh. 23. Oh my god, I feel old. I'm 26. Ugh. Okay. What's your favorite hook size to use and what brand of hook do you prefer and why? I honestly didn't really have a preference up until like maybe a year ago because I was just using like hooks that I got on like Amazon and like just like cheap hooks. And then I tried a clover hook for the first time and I was like, my life has changed forever. It is so smooth and the yarn glides so easily. I love hooks and glitter hooks because they're clover hooks and they're really pretty and sparkly and they're like chunkier so like I can hold on to it a bit better. Oh my god, all this talking, I am so thirsty. I stole Aaron's water bottle. Do you prefer felt eyes or safety eyes? Depends on what I'm doing. If I'm sitting down on the couch downstairs and I have my yarn, I have my polyfill, I have my crochet hook, I have my needle, I have everything I need to finish this item except for eyes, I'm gonna do felt eyes because then I don't have to get up and get safety eyes. But if it is for a young child, I will definitely use the sinker safety eyes, the 3D ones where you literally have to put your whole body into them just to get them in there because I know they're not going anywhere. Even then, I don't recommend those eyes for under 3 years of age without adult supervision, but like they're not going anywhere. Also, if I want the plushie to have a certain character about it and I know, ooh, I have some felt eyes that'll look really good with those, then I'll use the felt eyes. It's literally 50-50. Do you do markets all year long? Yes and no. I think my markets usually start maybe like April and then go through till like December. How do you keep up on social media? I don't. Honestly, I have this problem where I don't really know balance. So like I will put everything I have into writing a pattern and I'll kind of neglect making TikToks. Or I will put everything I have into making content, making TikToks, and then I'll like neglect everything else. Like I have a really hard time finding the balance between everything because it's so hard. Like imagine all in one day. You want to edit a YouTube video, you want to post an Instagram post, make a new plushie, make a TikTok about it. Like that's like a lot of creativity to do in one day. So I find that like I have to spread out my creativity and sometimes some platforms get left in the dust. Can we see more yarn storage? I just did a video about all of my yarn. So you should go check that out. How do you choose your next pattern? Honestly, I don't really have like a lineup. It's not often I have a lineup of patterns that I'm like waiting to make. While I'm making my current one, I'll be thinking about my next one. And then while I'm making the next one, I'll be thinking about my next one. So I know that some creators have like patterns and patterns written up in a notebook somewhere. That's not me. For me, it's very much like while I'm working through one, maybe in the testing stage of one, I'll be thinking about another one. And then as soon as that's done, then I start on my next one. I don't think yet to date I have started working on a new pattern before the pattern that I'm working on is out. I just can't multitask like that. Do you have different yarns up there in Canada? I don't think so. I think in the States you guys have way more than we have. We have Bernat blanket yarn, which you guys have. We have Sweet Snuggles Light. I know sometimes Canada gets different Sweet Snuggles Light colorways before you guys do. Don't know why, because I'm pretty sure they ship out of the States. Premier ships here, so we got that. Because we don't have Joann's, we don't have Hobby Lobby, we don't have any of these like yarn stores other than Michael's. This is the only chain yarn store that we have. They sell yarn in Walmart here, and that's about it. What's your most used hook size? Oh, I think this was in the other question and I didn't answer it. My most used hook size is probably a 4, because that's what I use with Perfect Chunky. I use a 4 with Perfect Chunky and equivalent size yarns. I use a 5 for Sweet Snuggles Light. The old blanket yarn formula, I usually use a 6 if I have it laying around. The basic Chanel line, I will use a 5.5. For Nat, depends on the color, because it can have like a different formula. I might use a 6 depending on what I'm making. For Sweet Snuggles, I've recently downsized to a 7 over the past year. As you crochet, your tension starts to get looser, so you have to go down in hook size because like you're just used to crocheting and you go faster and looser. You just have to downsize your hook size to compensate. I used to use a 6mm for Sweet Snuggles Light. 6. I used to use a 5 for Perfect Chunky. Like if I used that now, there would be such big holes and I would have to fight with the yarn and pull so tight to get it to look good. I love you. I'm from Perth, Australia. Could you please share how long it takes for you to crochet a few items? Would like to know in comparison if I'm crocheting at a good pace for when it comes to pricing my plushie. Okay, so for instance, it took me about like an hour and a half to make this. Hour and a half to 2 hours. My little baby green aliens take me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I'll pull up some pictures here and I'll kind of just like rhyme off how long it took me to make each one. These owls, my owl pattern takes me like 45 minutes to make. These patterns from Crochet Grove usually takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Usually anything that's like medium sized give me like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and anything that's like small give me like an hour max. How do you deal with the crochet community's toxic energy from time to time? I don't. Like I said, I try and keep my blinders on. I think for the most part, the toxicity is no longer with us, but it does come every now and then. Like I can feel the atmosphere changing sometimes. But like I said earlier, like people love the drama, and if you just don't give it the time of day, it usually resolves itself. If somebody isn't directly coming for you, don't take it personally. That's the biggest thing I have. Like if it is just like, you know, like so-and-so said this about you, or like, who the fuck cares? Like, we are grown adults. If it is hurting your business, or if they are directly saying things to you that are hurting you, then you can get involved, obviously. But I think for the most part, like, if you just stay in your lane and let those people tarnish their image all they want. In the end, people will see who you truly are, and that goes both ways for good people and bad people. Blinders. I'm gonna get that tattooed. Blinders. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think there needs to be a part 3. I have another probably 20-minute video that I could make. I don't want to cut out any questions. I want, because I said I was going to answer them all, so I want to answer them all. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know sometimes it can look like I have everything together on social media, but you have to remember that social media is like the very best highlights of our life, and like very polished and put together for a reason. It's kind of like our highlight reel. So hopefully watching these videos will help you understand that, like, you know, I'm human, I make mistakes, I have controversial opinions, I'm not perfect, and hopefully you found some advice in here that will help you with your business or your hobby or whatever this is for you. Please don't forget to why can't I ever say that line? Like, I feel like that line is just like a tongue twister. Please don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss another video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. See you next time.